Alright, so we are going to take a look at how to create packets for the loader in Shadow of War. And for that I'm going to replace probably one or two images in the loading screen. For me it's I think the Witch King, and I'll know the other one, we will see later. But yes, so for now what you first need is the dumps. They are on my Discord server, or you unpack the game yourself with Quick BMS. The instructions are already stated on my server, so yeah, just take a look at those. I will use my unpacked files since I don't need the dump. Yeah, you can take a look at that. So I think they are on the materials. Yes, here are the loading screens, and I would recommend you, since the texture files are normal direct draw surfaces, those are the ones used by DirectX, but I will just open one in a hex editor. You can see they got a little bit of, I wouldn't call it junk, but it's very useless for yourself. So this is the actual file. Everything that comes after the DDS magic word, and here you can see it's DXT1. That's the format. So this is pretty useless and makes it unreadable for every tool, I don't know, GIMP, Photoshop or whatever. So I recommend you to install Noasis. And the scripts, again, they are all on the Discord server. Here is Noasis, I already loaded that up. And you can see down here little Shadow of War.txt files. It will automatically remove those few bytes and then just load the DDS file for you to preview them. Interface, textures, appendices. I think, yes, appendices. So here, down here, we got the Witch King. You can see this is, I don't know, most people have different loading screens, but for me it's my normal loading screen is the Witch King. I can quickly load in so you can see what I mean. That's because I haven't got any packets installed right now. That's going to change later. While that loads, you can take a look at, this is one of mine, and I think I got this Spider Woman, I don't know the name of it. I don't know, but you can take a look at the pictures. There are pretty much all the loading screens ever used in the game. Obviously this process applies to every file. So I will state a lot of things in this tutorial, but you will see it's not too hard to create a packet. So here we are. We just start, and you can see the Witch King. That's this one down here. And the woman again. Let's just close this. If it closes, yes. So yeah, we for now we take the Witch King only. So we can close this one out. Yeah, we can minimize this. So we basically take this here, Witch King, place it somewhere else so we can know where it is. And now you can take any other, I don't know, loading screen you would like to see. Let's see, machine, which looks cool. Redback, yeah, they all look kinda shitty. That looks cool, I think. Helm, yes. So let's see, helm, hammer, yes. And you can see they are all the same size. That's awesome. That means you can just replace them. You cannot replace something with a bigger file. So let's say you want to replace hammer hand with a custom texture you made yourself. That's also possible without problems, but you need to keep in mind it has to be exactly 1 megabyte and 25 kilobytes or smaller. That's all you need to keep in mind. So yeah, take this out, take this, and then yeah, I would start creating the packet. Now you start off by just creating a folder, name it the name of your packet. I would call it I don't know, loading screen. I don't know a good name. Okay, so in there you create 2 more folders, one called find and one called replace, and a config.ini file. Yes. Okay. Now you want to find the Witch King. That's the one we always see, and replace it with this one. Yeah, that's obviously our goal. So you drag in Witch King into find and Helm Hammer Hand into replace. That's it. Now you rename this to 1, and you rename this one to 1 too. So if this packet contains more files, the packet can be in I don't know, infinity big. It has no size limit, but if you want to, let's say, have another texture, so later maybe replace this woman with another picture, you would have to say 2.text and then not this here 2.text. You know, it's always 1 replaces 1 and 2 replaces 2 and 3 replaces 3 and so on. Okay, so the ini file always consists of sections, and you write a section in those square brackets, and for the one always is, then there are always the things you write under it, and they are for 1.text in the file folder and for 1.text. It's very simple. So basically you have to write some stuff to describe for the loader how it should replace the stuff, and yes, that's basically it. So let's start with that. So the first variable, key, or however you want to call it, is the signature read offset. And this is basically, I will drag it to the left now. So as you can see, it's you need a hex reader. I'm using imhex. It's on. You can find it on GitHub. It's pretty much the best hex reader. I can only recommend it. So yeah, I would recommend you to use this one. Okay, so the signature read offset is for the find. This is for the find file. So in the find folder, 1.text, and the problem, I think, that's only with the texture files, is that they are, take a look at this, that's interesting. Interface, appendices, and then you can see Witch King. Let's open this up. Or let's just press properties, and you can see it has, this is the exact file size, and here you can see that it is actually smaller, and the reason why it is smaller is because the name of it is shorter than the one of the than this one. So that's not a problem, but it's a bit annoying. So that means, since the file name is written down here as well, you have to, the file size changes. So you cannot directly just overwrite this file with the file from the replace folder, if you know what I mean, since they are not, since the other one could be bigger or smaller, since the name of the file actually matters, which is written down in here. So what you basically do is, it's very simple. The signature read offset means at which point in the file the loader starts searching for the signature. And we, since this is not always the same size, we want to start at the DDS, because the DDS files are always the same. Let's take a look, just so you know what I mean. I hope it wasn't too fast. Norn has 4 chars, and this is, for example, very long. Open that up, and open that up. And you can see, take a look at this, how the DDS, where it sits at which bytes. Here you can see there's a long string in it, and here is a shorter string in it, as you can see. So the DDS file, the actual DDS file, is always the same size, but this, code, I don't know what is this for, but it's very annoying, and this can disturb a bit. So we have to exclude this from the loader. So what we are going to do, you could just remove those bytes completely from the file, store it, and then say signature read offset 0, and do this for the other one as well, not for those, but for those we want to replace in here. But that is not this one, sorry, it's a little bit messy here, but for those two you could just remove this starting stuff here, or use the signature read offset. So we are going to use the signature read offset, since it's a good practice, I think, and I will quickly show you how that works. So signature read offset is again the offset at where the loader starts to read. So we want to start at DDS, and down here you can see which byte is selected. So the selection starts at 54, but it's hexadecimal. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up the calculator. Here you can enter programmer, and then you write in, what was that, 54, and this is decimal 84. So just take this. Perfect. So the next one is the signature verify bytes length. This is basically the complete file. It's the problem is the game loads the resources in chunks, and each chunk contains each chunk is 65 kilobytes big. So if the file is bigger than 65 kilobytes, it gets loaded in multiple chunks. So you would think, okay, if I have a file which is, I don't know, 300 kilobytes big, it would get loaded in approximately 5 to 6 chunks. But it can happen that it starts loading the first chunk of the file, so the first 65 kilobytes of this one, in the second chunk the other 65 kilobytes, so it continues. In the third chunk, the next 65 kilobytes, and then stops out of nowhere and starts loading something different. So it's just loaded the half of the file. I don't know why the hell it does that, but since it happens, again, I don't know why, we have to use the signature verify bytes length. So what it does, it basically, before it overwrites, it always checks, is it still a valid load, or did the chunk loading break up for some reason. So that's basically why we need to use this. And what this means is, it's very, very simple. You just take, let's minimize this, you just take the size of find, you can see this here, and subtract it with the signature read offset. So if this would be 0, then you could just copy this value in here, but it's not 0, so you have to write it in here, and it's 1048 788 subtracted with 84, and this is what we have. Perfect. So this is the other one. So signature check length is the other one. That's the simplest one. Just keep this to 2000. It's yeah, yeah, you only need this one. Keep it between, yeah, 500 is also good, but 2000 is way more safer. The higher the value, the yeah, slower is it, but the more unlikely is it to, yeah, do a false check. It's you don't need to really understand this. Just keep it with 2000. It's good. You could also write 1000 here, but yeah, I always wrote 2000 and I never had problems. So yeah, just keep it. Okay, and then we have the exchange data read offset, and that's pretty much the same as signature read offset, but for the replace file. So here we have now to replace one.text, if it loads up. Yes, this is Helm Hammer Hand, and here we have, again, we start at the DDS, you know, yeah, because we only want the DDS part of it. Don't get confused, because it's one.text and one.text up here. It's one is the Witch King one, and the other one is the Helm Hammer Hand. I will just close this out so there's no confusion. So here we have, click at the first D, 59. So write this in the calculator under hex. What's that? 59. That's 89. So just write that in here. And this is the last one now, exchange data length. You might guess what that means. Exchange data length is now, close this, right click, properties, and this is basically the file size again subtracted with 89. So I will do this in the calculator. It's 1048 793 subtracted with yeah, 89. Perfect. Write this in here. 48704 store, and that's it. So yes, this is for 1, and 1 means the one in replace and the one in find. And if you had, for example, another file in here, 2.text and 2.text, or any other file you would like to replace, you have to open a complete other section, call it 2, and then fill out the correct values the way we did it for those two texture files. Okay, save this, close this, and now we have a complete packet. I hope it works now and I didn't make any mistakes. So what you're gonna do now is you are going to, yeah, close this, Close this, close this. Where is it closing? Ah. And here, x64 plugins loader. Yeah, I don't know why I got a signature folder in here, but yeah, you can see. Just drag the loading screen. This is your own packet now, and make sure that the loader is set to generate. Otherwise, it will search for the signatures, but obviously you don't have signatures for something you just created. So 0 is correct, and start. And now the CMD will also tell you 0 signatures, that's correct, but it found the one.txt in the loading screen and the replace one.txt. And now we can only hope that it correctly replaces. I will try to do it. Yeah, this is good. And you will directly get the feedback in here. So we replace the Witch King. So before the main loading screen comes, there should be something written down at the left here telling you that, I don't know, it replaced something. And yeah, texture files are the most annoying thing to replace, since they are the only files I just, out of my experience, they are the only files which contain this annoying stuff at the beginning. I don't know why they did this for them, but mesh files, skeleton files, and everything else doesn't have this. So let's see. Yes, it replaces at this end. You can see Helm Hammerhand, and it's found one.txt and replaced it correctly, as you can see. And now it's, yeah, Sauron also, I don't know. Yes. And now this is pretty much your packet. You can just close this as you wish. Just close this out, and you can see that it also generated signatures. It's currently just one. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. Yeah, I hope everything's clear now. And if there are questions, let me know.